The World Cup is never complete without a famous predictor. For years now, we've always had somebody or something spring up and give us correct predictions of World Cup games and eventual winners. The 2006 World Cup had Nelly the Elephant. The 2010 World Cup had Paul the Octopus and Manny the Parakeet. 2018 had Achilles the Cat and Rubio the Octopus, and on and on. And well, this time around there have been a couple of predictions flying around from different sources, and we want to look at who they are and what they are saying. These are the greatest World Cup predictors and what they have said about 2026. Obviously, Paul the Octopus is one of the greatest international tournament predictors the sport has ever seen. He correctly predicted every single one of Germany's games at the 2010 World Cup, right from their first group game up until the third place playoff game, and there was no bias there. Despite being kept in Germany, Paul correctly predicted that Germany would lose its semi-final game to Spain. Germans did not like it at the time, but he ended up being correct. He then went on to predict that Spain would win the final against the Netherlands, which then made Paul a lot more popular than Manny the Parakeet, who went for the Netherlands to lift the trophy that year. The Octopus did its prediction by picking food out of a tank. He would be presented with two tanks marked with the flags of the two teams going up against each other. Whichever tank he ate from was who he had chosen to win the game. And well, in the 2010 World Cup in South Africa, he enjoyed a 100% success rate, correctly predicting every single game he attempted. Anyway, as much as we would love to hear who Paul thinks will win this year's tournament, we unfortunately cannot, as the famous Octopus died in October 2010, not long after it gained worldwide fame. Nelly the Elephant, though, is very likely still alive, and some people will tell you that she is greater than Paul. Nelly became famous during the 2006 World Cup in Germany for correctly predicting the winner of games. She would be presented with a ball and faced with two goalposts marked with the flags of the two nations going up against each other. Whichever net she kicked the ball into was who she predicted to win the game. And guess what? Through the 2006 World Cup, 2010 World Cup, and 2012 Euros, she correctly predicted 30 out of 33 games. That was an incredible success rate, surely more impressive than Paul, who correctly predicted 12 out of 14 games across two tournaments. On top of that, she also predicted that Germany would win the 2014 World Cup. And what's more, Nelly also ventured into women's football, correctly predicting the winner of the 2011 Women's World Cup. Now, according to all reports, Nelly the Elephant is still alive, but she appears to have retired, as we have not heard anything from her regarding this year's World Cup, nor did we hear anything from her about 2022. But you know who we've heard from though? Joachim Clement. No, he is not an animal. He is a full adult male human, and he has made a bold prediction about the 2026 World Cup. We'll get into the breakdown of what he said and how he arrived at it in a bit, but if you aren't yet subscribed to the channel, now is a good time to do that, so you never miss out on our amazing content. Done? Okay, now back to the video. First of all, you should know that Clement is coming into the 2026 World Cup with an incredible record. The German mathematician correctly predicted the winners of the 2014, 2018 and 2022 World Cup tournaments. So when he speaks, the world of football is inclined to listen. When he first went for his native Germany to win the 2014 World Cup in Brazil, everyone thought it was just sheer loyalty and patriotism. But when he also correctly predicted France in 2018 and, to top it off, Argentina in 2022, everyone started to sit up and take notice of this crazy mathematician and his special model. But the man has continued to play down the hype. Apparently, he set out predicting the World Cup in 2014 to prove that it was impossible to do so. He set up a model that gave him a result that Germany would be champions, and he didn't expect that to actually happen, as all the experts were famously reiterating the fact that no European nation had ever won the World Cup on South American soil. When Germany eventually won that final against Argentina in Brazil, Clement himself said he was shocked. He did not expect that to actually happen, but it did, and it made him famous. He would then apply that same model in the 2018 and 2022 editions, where they produced correct results once again. That's a streak of 3 tournaments where this model has correctly predicted the World Cup winner. But what even is this model? Well, what we know is that he takes a few variables into account, like population size, FIFA World Rankings, the status of football in the country, and GDP per capita. In case you're asking what GDP per capita has to do with football, it is surely a factor that greatly affects sports infrastructure in every country, so it makes sense that it is considered. Oh, there's one more variable: luck. Clement never fails to emphasize the significance of luck in all of this. Applying this model to this year, Clement predicts that the 4 semi-finalists will be Spain, Portugal, England, and the Netherlands. He predicts that Portugal will knock out England and the Netherlands will take revenge on Spain for the 2010 final. This will then produce a clash between Portugal and the Netherlands in the final, meaning that, going by Clement's model, we're destined to see a first-time World Cup winner this year. Anyway, his model has predicted the ultimate heartbreak for Cristiano Ronaldo, as it believes that the Netherlands will become world champions for the first time in their history. However, despite having been right at the last 3 editions, Joachim Clement continues to urge fans to only take his predictions with a pinch of salt. He said himself that it is completely irrational and is like playing the lottery. In fact, he went further to say that if anyone placed a bet based solely on his predictions, then that person is beyond help. But you know what makes this year super interesting? At least one of 2 big and previously successful predictors will be wrong this year. You know why we say so? Because EA Sports also made a bold prediction this year which gave a different result from what Clement's model produced. For those who don't know, for years now, EA Sports has been predicting World Cup winners, and they are currently on an incredible streak. They do an official simulation ahead of each tournament to predict the winner of the World Cup, and they have been right for the past 4 editions. The simulation correctly predicted Spain to win in 2010, Germany to win in 2014, France to win in 2018, and Argentina to win in 2022. Well, this year, the simulation has predicted that Spain will win the World Cup again. So what this means is that either Clement the Mathematician's 3-tournament streak or EA Sports' 4-tournament streak will come to an end this year. But of course, there's still the possibility that both their streaks will come to an end. Absolutely anything can happen. And you know what's even more interesting? Neither of these teams our predictors have gone with to win the whole thing started their campaign on a winning note, which already puts their progress in some doubt. However, history tells us that that doesn't matter so much in the grand scheme of things. Argentina in 2022 and Spain in 2010 did not win their opening games of the tournament, but they went on to win the trophy. So, despite how Spain and the Netherlands open their campaigns this year, the prediction could still be on. But who will be right? Who will emerge with a clean record at the end of this campaign? EA Sports or Clement the Mathematician? Or you know what? You could rise as the next accurate World Cup predictor. Yes, you. So get in the comments right now and tell us who you think will win the World Cup this year. And if you have a model or a process by which you arrived at your result, feel free to share them with us as well. We're so curious to find the next big World Cup predictor. If you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. Also, turn on the bell notification so you never miss out on new content. Catch you in the next one. Bye. This video is sponsored by Supply Handlers. This video is sponsored by Supply Handlers.